Have you ever wondered when you felt most defeated that how close you could have been to a real breakthrough? Today, I want to share a story. I want to take you on a journey of how at MoneyHero Group, we moved from near disaster to IPO within a year. This is a story of the lessons that we've learned, the principles that we forged, and how in the middle of all this crisis, we discovered what was our true strength. In 2017, I vividly remember missing my flight from Jakarta. The reason? I fell asleep at the airport because I had just finished a 3-week relentless fundraise exercise. We ended up raising $50 million, and we were absolutely ecstatic. I knew I would never have to raise money again before a planned IPO a few years later. 5 years later, 2022, I was lying on my bed, sleepless. We had run out of money. Contrary to my belief, we needed money again, and contrary to the belief, there was no Series C available. The markets had dried up. The capital markets were not lending money in 2022, and I was watching my bank balance deplete on a daily basis. Somewhere around 11 p.m. at night, I received a call from the board. My heart stopped. I thought this could be the end of our journey. Are the investors pulling out all the money? We had a very intense 2-hour call. Many options were discussed. And the call ended up with a question to me. The board asked, if we inject just enough funds to keep you afloat for 6 months, could you turn the company profitable? Yes, I can. I mean, what option did I have? But this was a tough ask. We had to dramatically improve our profit margins. Not only that, but I would have to take very, very tough decisions. Reduce our headcount by over 40%. Salary freezes. And a very stark reality to all the staff that our stock options might be worth 0 if we are unable to make our commitments in the next 6 months. I knew the math. What I was worried about was the aftermath, the motivation, the retention of the staff. I felt as if I was in the middle of a well, staring up at the sky, and the investor's offer was like a rope, a lifeline. But I had to make myself my own way out of this well, and I was incredibly overwhelmed. I remember taking a pillow, digging my head on the same night on the pillow, and I cried. I was crying because of this mix of emotion. I had a lifeline, but at the same time, my inner critique kept asking me relentless questions. Was I responsible for bringing the company into this position? Am I capable of steering us out of this crisis? I had to silence my inner critique because my inner critique was shackling me into inaction. I had to listen to my calm voice, a voice that does not criticize me, but will give me some constructive guidance. I suddenly realized this wasn't the first time we are facing obstacles in our organization, and we've always managed to come out of it. So what was that unrecorded spirit that initially brought us success? And I realized, was I looking too far? Why am I looking at external sources for help? Why am I looking for sports metaphors? Why am I looking for industry benchmarks when the answer may lie in the stories of our own organization? And I started to think back. Remember that fateful day 5 years ago when I had famously missed my flight at the airport? Little did I know that my misadventure at the airport was about to be met by an incredible display of determination back in Singapore. Enter Chushia, a 25-year-old team member in the Singapore office. On the very day that I was pacing up and down trying to fix my flights, Chushia decided to take on a seemingly lost cause, to sign a deal with one of Singapore's largest banks, which has been ghosting her for 2 months. Her strategy? A 2-day stakeout in the client's lobby. No meetings, no appointments, no guarantees of being seen, just pure, relentless patience. The client only had 2 options, either to sign the contract or to start charging Chushia rent for their lobby space. They decided to sign the contract. That day, Chushia taught us an invaluable lesson. It wasn't about sitting in the lobby. It was about endurance. And I was suddenly reminded of Angela Buckworth's book, The Grit. The beautiful quote, "Enthusiasm is common. Endurance is rare." This moment didn't just define our first principle of extreme ownership. It became a legendary tale at MoneyHero Group. It turns out the secret ingredient of our success is not our management theories or strategic planning. It was a blend of missed flights, spilled coffees, and the art of lobby sitting. As I continued to dig into more stories, I said, there's got to be more. We need to find more inspiration internally. And I came up with another such story. This was a conversation I was having with one of our largest clients. And I was asking them, why do you prefer doing business with us as compared to competitors? Now, I was fully prepared for them to praise our state-of-the-art product, our great sales force. You would be surprised with their response. They said, because you pick up the phone. And here I'm thinking, of all the things, of millions of dollars that we are pouring into our product, what wins the day is our ability to take a phone call. As I digested this feedback, the profound significance of the revelation became quite clear. In the world that is increasingly dominated by automated systems, and please listen carefully as our menu options may have changed, messages, the human touch was a real cutting-edge technology. It was more than being accessible. It was a testimony of our unwavering commitment to listen. This was the birth of our second principle: pick up the phone and talk to people. Another such story was from this very memorable moment that we had with a client. It was a new head of retail bank for one of our large clients, and we had a meet and greet, a catch up with them, and we were expecting it to be a very standard state-of-the-art corporate meeting, corporate mumbo jumbo. To our very big surprise, within the first 5 minutes, he threw a curveball at us. And he said, I would like you to develop a product which connects influencers to my banking products. In a very typical, classic Singaporean way, he asked, can or cannot? And we said, can. Now, we hadn't moved so fast since our coffee machine broke last time. And he wanted to see a prototype in 1 week. What did we end up doing? We ended up running a 48-hour hackathon. We built up a solution. We created a prototype. He loved it. He was dazzled. He wanted it launched in 3 weeks. 3 weeks later, this gave birth to our product, Creatory. This pivotal moment led us to create our third principle: move fast and iterate. We started telling these stories. We started talking about them again and again to our internal teams. We started celebrating these stories, and they started becoming the ethos of our organization. The move fast and iterate. Creatory, the product that we created today, generates over 16% of our revenue and is stand-alone profitable company in itself. Extreme ownership. Our Philippines team took extreme ownership and completely changed their marketing strategy to become the fastest growing market in the group over the last 1 year. A first testament of a developing market success in our line of business. These lessons, along with the others, like talking future opportunities over past failures, always be learning, always be growing, earning user trust, and being frugal became our guiding principles. Finally, on October 13, 2023, as we reached the milestone, our IPO, standing on the Nasdaq floor, I reflected on our journey. I reflected on the people, their wisdom, their stories, and the principles that MoneyHero Group encompasses, which guided us through the tough times. From MoneyHero Group's journey, one lesson stands out: the power of your team and their collective stories and experiences. These are your most valuable resources, shaping principles that can navigate your company through the toughest times. So I ask you, what unexplored strengths lie within your team, waiting to be discovered and harnessed in the face of adversity? Thank you.